putain, enculé, c'est à moi qui te... Hein? Ça, c'est à moi que tu parles, là? Oh, c'est à moi que tu parles. Mec, c'est à moi qui parle, cet enculé. C'est à moi qui parle, putain. C'est à moi que tu parles comme ça, mec.
So the 1995 French film La Reine, directed by Mathieu Kassovitz, starring Vincent Cassel, Hubert Condé and Saïd Taghmaoui. Nailed it. So this is my choice this week, primarily because it's been on my radar for quite a while, and I know that we all saw they're bringing out a Blu-ray 4K version of this, and I thought we might as well see what all the fuss is about La Haine. Very topical at the time. A story set over the course of about 24 hours, about three friends during the riots in Paris. Who wants to start off? Is it Jem? What were your initial thoughts of La Haine?
Initial thoughts, really enjoyed it. I like the style, I like the cinematography. Interesting floaty scenes. I thought the use of black and white was great. It made it quite. I mean, it's not a film I've heard of much, but like I'll certainly remember it. I think mostly because of the style of the film and the way they did that. It was great. I really liked some of the character development. I thought there were a couple of characters who were slightly underdeveloped, but the two main chaps, was it Viz and
Vincent,
Saïd,
Vincent and Hubert.
And was it Max? What was the name of the other chap?
Hubert.
No, it was Hubert. Was that right? Yeah, I thought the two main guys were great. The third guy wasn't developed much as a character, which I didn't quite understand, but I still thought it worked really well. I thought the first half of the film probably, you can tell I watched this a week ago. First half of the film was better than the second half. I was more engaged just because it was a bit more interesting. There's a few more moving parts, and then towards the end, it completely brought it back. I thought the ending was great and was really quite satisfying.
We'll get on to the ending shortly. Jem, I'll just pull you up on why do you reckon Hubert as a character then was? You mean Hubert as in the boxing? Boxing. Yeah. Why do you think he was underdeveloped compared to the other two? I can see what you mean. I thought
he was good. It was the other friend who wasn't. Him and
Saïd.
So it was Saïd that wasn't.
Do you think?
Yeah, you didn't. I felt like you didn't see any of his motivations, or I mean, you get the motivations of the other characters sort of going back, and there's a lot more introspective stuff for them. But you didn't really get that, other than perhaps the haircut scene and a couple other bits that really revealed a lot about the other two characters, but not so much him.
Okay, I can see what you mean. I thought all in all the three of them had sort of a very level. There was none of them really stood out as like the main character. Like you could be forgiven for thinking maybe that Vince or Saïd were the main character, but I thought as a trio they all brought a different dynamic with each character and a different personality that worked really well together, and they all sort of developed about the same amount. Liam, throwaway thought of La Haine to start with.
I'd agree with that. I think the three of them played pretty well off each other. They were different enough from each other that they all had something interesting in their character to kind of create conflict. But they were all similar enough that you could tell why they were friends and why they, stuck around each other. Enough to kind of like, push through and see what the violence was saying. I kind of liked the second half of the film quite a bit, in contrast to you, Jem, just because it made me laugh a lot more. I started the film thinking that, this is quite a serious film, which I think I probably had in mind just from reading the plot excerpt and from what I'd heard about it in the past. But there was a few little tidbits of humour, but the last third of the film was just cracking me up non-stop. There was a couple of scenes I had to replay. I thought that stuff with Grabowski in the toilet, and they got on about that short guy comes out the cubicle just talking about Poe and God and stuff. I thought he was hilarious, and it was so unexpected. I just didn't expect him to be where he was. There was a few other elements like that in the film, where something would jump in, some cut, some character, some strange angle, and it just surprised me. So there was a few camera tricks in there as well, like the split diopter effect, where you know, at one point you see. There's a few examples where it was used, but I just thought it was really used brilliantly. Where Vincent Cassel is, he's standing outside the club, and the two mateys go in and shoot through the letterbox, and you just see his face on the left and them on the right. That's a really difficult effect to pull off. Can't do that in one camera. It's like two shots, and they've kind of like melded the film together in some way. And they did the same thing when they're smoking a joint up on the roof, and you see the Eiffel Tower in the background. So just in it, like cinematographically and stylistically, it was very vibrant, very energetic film, and I enjoyed the way that it wasn't a straight like increase in tension the whole way through. There were like some interesting pullaways, some breather moments, you know, where you get to, and there's another shot which I have no idea how they did. Is, you know, they have the shot just floating above. They have the rap music playing and the shot floating above the neighborhood. No idea how they did that. I still don't know how they did it, because it certainly wasn't a helicopter or a drone or anything. And it was very close. So yeah, technically I thought it was very interesting. And then also narratively, I thought the same.
Yeah, on the cinematography front, I know everyone sees sort of clips of the mirror scene. You know, the c'est moi que tu parles. But the way that when you actually see it as well, and you realise it's a body double, that it's just they're stood like opposite each other, and it just comes over the shoulder, and then it goes into him, and he's just there like that, doing it to the camera instead. It's like just small things like that. You're just watching it like cool. Oh shit, okay, how did they do that? I wonder with the mirror. It's just really, really clever, and the way that it, you know, rushes in through the empty gym. Towards them with the gun and all those kind of things. It's really clever cinematography, but really, really matched the sort of the flow of the narrative and the story itself. You've got these three characters that are sort of, I don't know, they're a reflection of a fallen society, basically, but they're so naive in like, everything they do, apart from Hubert. He's the sort of very grounded one. It strikes me almost as like an older one, like it could possibly just a little bit more experience with bits and bobs. Am I right in saying? I'm trying to remember. I watched it 2 weeks ago. Had he been to prison or not? Or he was the one that was saying, "I never wanted to go to prison, so I didn't get it." It acts like that. Is that?
No,
he's telling Vince.
He had been, I think.
He had, and then because Vince is there being like, "Yeah, you want to go to prison because you want to do it," and he's like, "No, you don't," and that sort of grounds him a lot more. But everything that's going on around them is so. The way that it's filmed, it really matches sort of the vibrancy of the whole thing. Tom, you were really excited to watch this one. So what were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It lived up to my expectations. It's just a really aesthetically pleasing film to watch. Apart from anything else, I just find it a really interesting viewing. And yeah, like you said, I really like the kind of sub characters that come into it. Like the coked up crazy guy that was playing sort of Russian roulette with his own head, the guy in the toilet, the kind of the sub characters, the guy tapping on the door. I found them all quite interesting. They all added to the movie and kind of broke up from the fact that it was just focused on the three of them the whole time. It was quite an easy watch. I thought it might be grittier, but it's more of a friendship film than anything else, set with a background of social commentary. I thought it was going to be a little bit darker from the trailer than what I saw, but I quite enjoyed that because it made it a slightly easier watch for quite a short runtime. But I guess at the time it was probably a lot more impactful than viewing it 20 years, 30 years on from when it was set and when those riots took place, and obviously not living in France. I'm sure if it was a similar film in the UK, then we'd find it a lot more kind of shocking, impactful. But we're taking it from a slightly higher level of just a film.
The thing is, this was shot in the 90s, and it was during a time that society was sort of falling apart, especially in Paris, and arguably society's not recovered from that in France.
I was going to say, I think the civil unrest element
still
translates to other times as well. It's not as yes, it is specific to that time in Paris, but it's quite a nice. global social commentary for irrespective of the exact timescale, because there's always going to be unrest all over the world.
Yeah, well, even in France, look at the Gilets jaunes. Like, society's not got back on its feet in that way. And then look at America with all the Black Lives Matter stuff. I mean, it's all social commentary that is still very present today, and it's now 25 years after this film's been released.